Have you ever felt a sense of dread about an upcoming task? Or maybe felt your mind wandering because you've been engaged in something far too many times for way too long? But on the flip side, you've been passionately involved in particular projects or thoroughly enjoyed yourself with a certain group of people. It's such an interesting range of emotions to feel about certain acts. I was introduced to this particular aphorism first when I was in SSE. It's a simple one: work is worship. And like any quote of Swami's, it becomes so much more upon further reflection. To me, work didn't just mean work in the conventional sense. It could mean anything. And I chose to take it to mean everything. So my interpretation of the quote became dedicate everything to God. Now, you might ask, is that dedication the same dedication that a muse might receive from an artist on a certain art project, or an author might give acknowledgement and thanks to their family, friends, editors, and readers? And you'd be partially right. It is those sorts of dedications, but it's also so much more. It's about being mindful and present in the moment when we are dedicating those moments to God. SSE has given me so many opportunities to improve myself. I used to have an immense amount of stage fright when I was younger, and when I was 5, I think I had my first concert. I was part of a troupe of Mridangam players, and we had our first concert. Immediately after that concert, I blacked out. So we're talking about intense amounts of stage fright. And SSE gave me opportunities, repeated opportunities, to try and explore how to not feel so terrified about the prospect of playing in front of a group of people. And so I got opportunities and after opportunities to keep playing live, from smaller groups to larger groups, from smaller venues to larger venues. SSC also gave me my first taste in media, and I am currently working in the media space, so I guess it was a really good opportunity, a chance to really learn a bit more about something that would prove to become my life. Every year, at the end of each year in SSC, we would have a magazine that would be released by the students in the SSC program. And the Group 4 students, the ones who are about to graduate, would be the editors and be in charge of the magazine spread. So in my final year of SSC, I got to be the person who made those decisions, who asked for certain articles, and put together a decent magazine spread. Some of us have had opportunities to go see Swami, and I was lucky enough to be able to do that a couple of times. One particular moment stands out when I got to be a part of a group that was going to be presenting a play. And probably because of my height, I was part of the stagehand crew rather than the main cast, which suited me to a T. So I was dressed out in black, and I would only be on stage when the lights were out. So no one had any idea I was there, and it worked great for me. At the end of that offering, Swami came up on stage, and he was smiling, laughing, and enjoying himself entirely and being in that moment with us. And you could just see that love emanating from him, feel it emanating from him. And at the end of that interaction, he started handing out cloths to each and every one of us. And you could see that each moment that one individual was handed a piece of cloth, he was giving it with absolute focus, and he wasn't looking at the next person like, I'm going to give you this next. He was just focused entirely in that moment with each of those individuals. Now imagine if we could have an iota of that same experience when we handled our laundry, and we could dedicate the act of doing our laundry to God. We could take an act of sipping water and dedicate it to God. We could even emulate Sabri from the Ramayana, and when we go to the market to shop for produce, we can metaphorically taste the fruits of those labors and offer each act suffused with love and sweetness to God. Now, during my work, when I'm doing chores, I get an opportunity to practice this, or attempt to practice this to the best of my ability every single day. When I am answering phone calls, I am doing my best to see the other person as divine, but also the act of what I'm doing is a chance for me to offer that to God. So it changes the dynamics of the phone conversation. It's so much more caring and loving, I hope. And when I'm sending an email, those responses hopefully are much more thoughtful and loving and caring, and less of that brush off that we have the potential to make when we're responding to people. Difficult conversations with clients, issues with colleagues, it all becomes an opportunity for us to practice thinking of God. And at some point, work becomes blurred, and it isn't so much about work, and it all becomes a stream of love and joy. Sarah.